is instead of just transforming somebody's sort of meat suit, transform who they are. What's their idea of themselves? That was what really then just lit a fire under my butt. Because I can remember I was a ski instructor for a minute too. And I had these two guys, it's such a powerful memory, who had the same experience skiing. They were, just beyond beginner, sort of intermediate. They had about the same athleticism in terms of their size, and they were about the same age. But I can remember one coming down. It wasn't like a crazy slope, it wasn't like a double black or anything like that, but he was so apprehensive. But the other guy just kind of went for it, more like a child. Like he wasn't concerned about what could happen. So at that point, I was like, well, it's got nothing to do with their resources, right? Their equipment, their experience. It had everything to do with how the future occurred to them. It was all about mindset. And that really was one of those moments where I realized that the thing that's really driving everybody's life is your perspective. And so I was like, wow, if I could help people shift perspective, that then completely shifts their life. Versus most people are trying to change the circumstances of their life.
Right, trying to change the mountain.
Yeah, which is exhausting, futile, and at the end of the day, it's a perpetual sort of journey that never gets fulfilled, right? Because it's sort of, there's always something else to fix. But for me, where I got to is that point where I realized there was nothing external that was really the source of, the author of my experience. It was all how I was relating to it. It was all in the way that I interacted with life that created my experience.
I've been
intimidated when it feels insecure, when it feels fearful of being attacked. But when the tortoise finds itself in a surrounding which is protected and secure, the tortoise will bring all of its limbs out. I think even in our relationships, when we feel the fear of being judged, the fear of being used, the fear of being rejected, we withdraw ourselves from people in our relationships, don't we?
Very true.
But when we feel protected, when we feel secure, when we feel ourselves in a surrounding and an environment where there is trust, where there is understanding, where we are treated with respect, when we are treated with love, that's when we bring ourselves fully out to connect to that person. We are happy confiding to them, we are happy to speak to them, we are happy to deeply connect with them. And I think that's really what makes a relationship really meaningful and happy, isn't it? So yes, a tortoise does teach us that we should look for those people in our relationships who can give us that surrounding, that we can bring out most of our
bring the best
out of us. And we should try and avoid those surroundings where we feel fearful of being judged, and being used, in which case we need to withdraw like the tortoise withdraws its limbs within its shell.
Next, times before, especially in the last couple years ago, the G3 was the 3 Gs. And what it means is every single day, I want you to journal on these 3 things. And I do mean journal, meaning you write it down in the morning and you review it at night. So that's why it says journal and review. So you write in the morning and review it all at night. And so here's what the G3 is. The first thing you know is your gratitude. And that is just, what are you grateful for? Why does that make you feel good? Why are you thankful for it? And just write it down in your journal. Just a whole, you should have a gratitude journal already, but when you're disappointed or having setbacks, I want you to do the gratitude in the morning. A lot of gratitude journal stuff is at the night. I want you to move it right up in the morning. You gotta prime your morning for some goodness. So right off the bat, you gotta do that, okay? So gratitude. Second major thing I want you to focus on is your goals. What are the specific daily and weekly goals you're working on? You gotta get really narrow focused, right? When you're disappointed or sad or setback, the idea of creating a vision board and seeing out 10 years from now, that's too much. What you need to do is get really close in near term. This day's goals, this week's goals. Because if you can check those suckers off and get a little progress in, you'll feel differently, as we talk about. So goals is important. And the third G is goodness. And the goodness is noticing what is good from the previous day. So when you start the day, you're like, okay, what am I grateful for in general, for life? What are my goals specifically daily and weekly in each of these different areas of my life? You might have goals in your career, in your health, in your finances, in your relationships. And then the goodness is, what actually good did happen yesterday? And that will just get you in a place where you're like, oh, this day is going to be good too. It's making you more mindful to all the good things. And the reason I do that one last, and the difference between gratitude is general things you're grateful for. The goodness thing is to think about what good happened yesterday. And the reason we do that, because in neuroscience, we know that thinking about the goodness from yesterday is triggering your hippocampus to kind of turn on and fire up. And if we get more memory activation off the bat in the morning, we actually have more creativity in the day too. It's weird. Sparking memory is good for creativity. Creativity is very good for coping. And so that's why I'm trying to get you to reflect a little bit on something that happened yesterday, just to think through, find that mindful moment. And it's also teaching you to be more mindful of the moments each day, not just grateful in general, but actually being mindful for the good moments each day. So I want you to do that journal every morning, and then every night, I want you to look back at it and think about it and maybe repeat it if you want to. I just want you to review the day and review those things. What was I grateful for? Oh yeah, that's right. Because maybe at the end of the day, the truth is you haven't moved a lot forward. Maybe, your spouse or yourself, you're still sick, or maybe there's still conflict, or maybe the business still, because I'm not going to be Pollyannish and say everything changes in one day and everything's great just because you did your gratitude journal. You might get to the end of the day, it still sucks. So reviewing it is going to put you back in that positive mindset that's going to help you then take the next day.
Your life is difficult, and it's harder to do things than not to do them, and it's harder to do them well than to do them badly. And it's easy to sit around and be hopeless. I don't mean it's emotionally easy, because it's not, but it's procedurally easy to be useless and to fall back into your old habits and to not discipline yourself. And it's a matter of continual practice, slow continual practice. And I think a good example of that is something like weightlifting. If you start a weightlifting program, which I would recommend, by the way, because it's tremendously advantageous physically and cognitively, you're not going to really see results for a number of weeks, and then the results are rather slow, but you can get pretty decent results over a 6-month period and absolutely stellar results over a couple of years. And so you have to make sure your time frame is right and not to be too hard on yourself. And I did mention the future authoring program earlier, and one of the things I would recommend too is if you're having a hard time implementing your decisions, say your ethical decisions, that you spend a bit more time thinking them through and writing them down. And the future authoring program is really helpful for that. That's why we designed it. And so get your goals straight and continue to practice every day. And if you're not succeeding, then make your goals slightly smaller. You want to make your goals large enough so that they challenge you, but small enough so that you have a reasonable probability of succeeding at them on a day-to-day basis. And then you have to also understand that if you fail on a given day, like let's say you're trying to quit smoking and you quit for 2 weeks, and then you have a cigarette and you think, oh my God, now I've screwed it up. I'm not quitting anymore. You smoke a whole pack of cigarettes. It's like, well, there's a couple of mistakes there. And one is, well, just because you had a cigarette doesn't mean you failed. It just means that you had a cigarette. You can start stopping again the next day. And the fact that you had one cigarette in the last 2 weeks is a hell of a lot better than the 2 weeks that you had before that. And so you've got to be realistically humble. You've got to be ambitious enough in your goals so that you're pursuing something that you regard as truly meaningful and worthwhile. And maybe you can judge that to some degree if you think about someone you love attempting the same thing and think about how you would feel if they managed it. And if you would feel good, then that's probably a good what would you say? That would be a good evaluation strategy to use on yourself.
When you say it would kill me if I were opened a business and it failed, it would kill me if I put all my money in this product and nobody bought it, and one goes, don't do it, procrastinate. And now you have to understand how to dialogue with your mind. And this is what you do. You go, I want this. I want it. I want it. I want it. I have chosen it, and I have chosen to feel great about it. Those two sentences, I've chosen to do this and chosen to feel great about it, and I want this, will change your mind. So you probably know that 25% of people who buy a membership to a gym never go. They plan to, they intend to, and they just don't go. Maybe they go once or twice, then they don't go again. So you got a gym membership. Maybe you've got the DVD in your living room. Maybe you've got the exercise rope and the exercise ball and the dyno bands. They're all there, and you're not doing it. So how can you make yourself do it? First of all, you go, I want to work out. I love working out. I feel so great when I'm working out. I've chosen to work out and chosen to love it, love it, love it. And that will get you to the gym. And then when you're on the machines, in the class, say it again, I love this. No idea whether what you're telling it is right or wrong, true or false, good or bad. I used to work with very overweight celebrities. I take them training with Marines, and the Marines would be running in snow, in mud, in rain, and they'd sing a song, I'm a Marine, bring it on. And the celebrity would go, oh no, it's too muddy, it's too cold, my legs hurt, my knees hurt. And you see, they told their mind, I don't want to do this, and the mind said, stop. When the Marines told their mind, I want to do this, I love this, I love running in cold and rain, and they did it. Many of our clients say, I got a speaking gig and I was so terrified until you told me the truth. Your mind cannot tell the difference between fear and excitement. Instead of saying, oh God, I'm so nervous, I'm so excited, I want it, I want it, I want it. I have chosen it and chosen to feel great. I love speaking on stage. I love going to my boss with ideas. I love talking to potential customers. I love putting myself out there and showing the world who I am and what I have to say. And you see, it's what I call lie, cheat, and steal. Lie to your mind, cheat fear, cheat procrastination, steal back the phenomenal confidence you were born with. No baby is born going, oh, I love this crib so much, I'll just stay here. They can't wait to get out. They're little escape artists. They're always wriggling and running and jumping and moving. And when they go, hey, mummy, look at me in the pool, look at me on the slide, look at me on the swing. Go and sit at a children's park or playground, hang around at a pool, and notice all the kids going, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me, because they don't have procrastination. They don't have fear of rejection. The fear of rejection is acquired. Procrastination is acquired. Anyone try to keep their kid in bed on Christmas morning, I would be shocked, because they're out of bed at 5 a.m. because they're so excited on their birthday. They're excited. They don't know what procrastination is. And that's good news for all of you, because it means you learnt it, you acquired it, and guess what? You can reactivate, remanifest, regenerate, and recreate forever that passion for life you were born with. A little kid that would jump in a puddle and think it was exciting. Go out in all kinds of weather and find everything thrilling and exciting. Be excited by storms and rain and sun and snow. You can't keep little kids on the couch. They are balls of energy. And you were born with phenomenal self-belief. I want you to reactivate it, to remanifest it, to regenerate it now by using those magic words. I have chosen this and chosen to feel great about it. I want this. So if you're lying on the couch, binge watching a series, say, I've chosen to switch this off, to apply my